And we're back, making sure I'm not muted. Welcome, Mischief. Welcome to the family. How's everyone doing? Tiffany is on the way to Walgreens. She's getting a Chardonnay box wine. We're in big trouble today. She's going to be fired up. I tell you what, this story out of Henryetta, Oklahoma is absolutely insane. And I mean insane. Who would have thought? I've been going through this dude's record all day long. You won't even believe it when I show it to you. Hello, Bama Cat. Hello, Shan. Hello, Angie Baby. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, he served 85% of his sentence for rape, which is actually pretty good because a lot of states only make people serve 50%, if you really want to know the truth. But he gets out, he meets this woman named Rylee Guess, and she has children, and they get married. Now, in all of this, other kids come to the house. Their kids go to their house. And it comes out that while he was in the pokey, while he was in the jail, he had a contraband cell phone and he was using it to communicate with a 16-year-old. Now, the person I'm talking about is Jesse McFadden. That's him. Now, he is the reason that people don't do sleepovers. He is the reason that people don't let their kids go to other people's homes. How he got married, I will never know. Why this woman allowed him around her children, I will never know. I'm wondering if he did anything to them. This all started yesterday morning. Received this alert. Missing, endangered. Emergency alert extreme. Now in Oklahoma, we don't see this. We will see an Amber Alert that says last known person they were with, and they'll have a tag number. Be on the lookout. They could be on Interstate 35, or they could be on Highway 4, they could be on 44 or 40, something like that. That's pretty much it. That's all we get. But when I saw this yesterday, I thought, what in the world is going on? Well, after a few hours, it went away because I kept checking it. We were watching the trial for Letitia, and it just went away. And I thought, well, okay, I guess they found the girls. I do wonder what on earth could have been going on. I know the end result. I know the end result, and so do you. But Ivy and Brittany, there's their pictures. They were at the home of Jesse and Rylee and her children. He was due to be in court yesterday because while he was in the jail, he was using a cell phone he wasn't supposed to have, and he was texting yet another minor. I'm not victim shaming because I know the families are going through enough, but I'm wondering why Ivy why her parents or why Brittany's parents didn't just drive over to the house and get their kids. I don't understand why this became a missing, endangered alert, emergency alert extreme. I don't get it. I don't understand it. The grandma has come out now. The grandma of Holly's children. Holly's mother says all the posts on Facebook and the news talk about 7 bodies found and mention Ivy and Brittany, but no mention of the other 4 found. Those other 4 were my daughter Holly Guess and her children, Rylee Elizabeth Ann, Michael James Mayo, and Tiffany Dore Guess. My heart does go out to Ivy and Brittany's families, but they were not his only victims. My daughter loved her children, and yes, she married the man who killed them. She was fooled by his charm. I hurt just like the other families, but he took my world from me, my grandchildren, and my daughter. I have a hole in my heart that he created by his actions. Jesse McFadden was a monster for his actions. I would love to talk to the media and tell my side of it. I loved Ivy. She was a sweet girl. I really didn't know Brittany, but she must have been a sweet girl for my Tiffany to care for her. My prayers are there for both of the other families. I just ask that people remember my family as well and that they had names too. Well, we didn't know their names yesterday, and there was a lot of questions going around. Who all passed away inside the house? And I say that term lightly. You know how YouTube is. And yes, she is in pain as well. But you know what? Give it 24 hours before you jump on the "Hey, I'm hurting too" train. The alert was for Ivy and Brittany. Now, let's go through. This took me a hot 5 seconds to find, okay? This is through ODCR. Oklahoma keeps everything public. And here are, this is his record. And it's many counties. Cherokee County, obtaining cash or merchandise by bogus check, false pretense. All right, big whoop. That was in 2008. 2017, soliciting sexual contact communication with minor by use of technology. Now, that's a different charge because he was in jail at the time. Then he got a marriage license to Holly in 2022. They haven't been married that long. 2003, grand larceny in dwelling house. 2003 in November. One is in March, then we go to November. This is in Pittsburgh County. Rape first degree by force and fear. We have some speeding tickets, possession of alcohol. It took me 5 hot seconds to find it. Could no one talk any sense into Holly? I don't know. I mean, she's a grown adult. You can't make adults do anything. If that's what they want to do and they say that he's changed, that's one thing. I would think that somebody would have called the Department of Human Services in Oklahoma and said, hey, my daughter just found the love of her life. Turns out he just got out of prison for rape by force or fear. I would prefer my grandkids not be there. He might not have changed. When he was in the pokey. I mean, what would you guys do if someone has a quick relationship and they have children and this guy just seems a little off to you? Would you not look up their record? Penny for Your Thoughts said spent 17 years, yeah, for R of a minor. Yeah, he did. Now, I'm not blaming the grandma. I'm not blaming her. But, you know, don't be attacking social media saying I'm hurting too. Well, she's been married to him since 2022. You could have at some point called the Department of Human Services and gotten your grandkids away. The man did some hard time. And that is insane to me. I don't understand it. Tony said, my daughter always had sleepovers at home. Yep, mine too. I didn't ever have any problems with my kids going to other kids' houses at all, but I knew their parents. But I have a lot of questions about this situation. Now, one thing is I've seen News Nation, CNN, Fox, a lot of them saying this was in rural Oklahoma. If you've been to Oklahoma, you know it's all rural. Unless you live in Tulsa, Oklahoma City, or a town right around there, Muskogee. But it's all pretty much rural. Everyone, it's all scattered out. That's how Oklahoma is. So they're putting that out there. It's in rural Oklahoma. It's all rural, okay? Unless, like I said, unless you live in downtown Tulsa or you live in downtown Oklahoma City. It's pretty much all scattered around. But I want to know, why on earth no one checked in on this situation? Nucky said, I'm an hour away from a Walmart. There you go. Yeah. Lisa said, I feel a Merle Haggard song coming on. I'll tell you what, you got it coming. I just don't get it. Let's look at a few things, and I'm going to drop the link and tell me what you think, because I'm just sickened by this whole deal. He was supposed to be in court yesterday because of what he pulled when he was in jail. But of course, he was scared because he didn't like jail. So everybody that was around him he killed him.
We're following breaking news. The Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office says their search for these two missing teens is over after a total of 7 bodies were found on the property of the man on the right, a convicted rapist near Henryetta. I'm Shay Rozzi.
And I'm Sarah Whaley. A very tragic day with this news coming out just in the past hour. Let's go ahead and look down to our right here. Beautiful young ladies. 14-year-old Ivy Webster on the left, 16-year-old Brittany Brewer. They were at the center of that missing and endangered persons alert issued this morning.
It's absolutely heartbreaking to think what their families are going through right now. Now, they were last known to be with the rapist, Jesse McFadden, and his family. Fox 23 brought you live coverage of a news conference the sheriff held just about a half hour ago.
And we do have a team of reporters at the scene and in studio for you now. Let's start with Fox 23's crime and safety reporter, Abigail Dye, who was at that news conference. Abby, what more have you learned?
Well, Sarah, I mean, this is not the update that we wanted to bring you at all. This is absolutely tragic, like you were saying, and 7 bodies found right here on this property, a very large property that the sheriff says Jesse McFadden, that convicted rapist, lives at. And he says that they've been searching all day and he can't yet identify the bodies. But of course, sadly, he did call off the search for those 2 teen girls. Now, McFadden was convicted of rape back in 2002. He was released from prison in 2020, and he was set to stand trial today for child porn charges. Now, he did not show up to his court date, and no one has heard from him or these girls since yesterday. And the Okmulgee County Sheriff Eddie Rice says that they've been here on this property searching all day. And of course, what they found shocks us and breaks our hearts.
Approximately at 1,500 hours. We arrived out here with a search warrant. We searched the property and we've located 7 bodies that we are in the process of trying to get the ME to be able to confirm identities of these individuals that were found. We're not going to discuss any of the facts of the case or anything like that, but we are no longer looking. We believe to have found everything that we were seeking this morning.
Very, very tragic. Now, of course, like the sheriff said, he wasn't releasing a lot of details. He didn't say if there was any trauma. They have no cause of death. And we're staying out here to make sure to gather information for you as this investigation moves forward. Live covering news that matters, I'm Abigail Dye, Fox 23 News.
Absolutely horrific. Now, he already had a long stint in jail for what he did back in the early 2000s. He gets out and he marries a woman with kids. Hey, Leo, how are you? And they have friends over. But yesterday was a changing moment. He must have been Googling what's going to happen to me when I go to this trial. And he didn't want to go back to jail. My question is, though, before the endangered alert came out, why did the parents of Ivy and Brittany not go to the house? They knew where their kids were. Why didn't they go there and say, time to come home? Why? I don't get it. Why did Grandma, who's saying, I'm hurting too, why didn't she look up old boy on the internet and say, oh, he might be a bad hombre. Maybe my grandkids should not be around him. There's got to be more to the story. So, I mean, I'm not going to do any early judgments. What's up, Amanda?
Hi. I only know bits and pieces. I think the wife of him knew that he led her to believe that he was set up with that child. He was set up.
Mm-hmm.
The grandmother, I did believe, tried to talk to her out of not being with him. What else do I remember? There's a girl named Kate. I have to send it to you because she spoke to the grandmother. So
yeah, the grandmother's been all over. The grandmother is really defending her daughter, and I don't blame her for that because, you know, she lost her daughter and she lost her grandchildren. But at times like this, we don't say, well, I tried to talk to her. And no, you know exactly what's going on. All you had to do was a simple search like I did. It takes 5 seconds. It's a very detailed search. The affidavits are horrific. No one could have set that up.
I agree with you. As far as her, you know, turning it in, I don't understand this, though. He got in trouble for that. He should have had a probation officer. Why wasn't the probation officer making sure that that man wasn't around children?
That I don't know. I need to know more of the story.
Yeah, when you do something like that, you're not supposed to be around a child, period.
Nope. And a lot of times if they've served their time and they're out of jail, they're on probation for like 6 months to a year. They have to hold down a job, and then once they appear to be normal, then they don't have to be babysat anymore. Sword said he sent text messages to his victims before this happened, something like, I told you I'm not going back. Exactly.
Oh, yes. He talked to his own mom and said he's not going back to prison, that he was going to unalive himself. So why his mom didn't turn that into the police, and then that his mom sent that message to the grandmother, and she's upset because she felt like she should have went to the police with that, and if she would have went to the police with that, none of this would have happened to all them 7 people.
No, it wouldn't have. Here's the thing. You know, you can stick your nose where it doesn't belong, and that's not a good thing to do. We can't invade people's privacy or anything. But when our kids are spending the night with someone who has already served time for child RAPE, it's okay to stick your nose in that situation.
No, but it was his own mom who he told this to. He's not going back to prison, that he was going to unalive himself and unalive his family. And she didn't go to the police. His own mom didn't go to the police, but she ended up sending some kind of text message to the grandmother of the ones that got unalived. So why his mom didn't go to the police and say anything, I cannot for my life understand that. Because she could have prevented that. If the
See,
police would have
I didn't read anything about him communicating with his mom. And his mom is just like all the other moms. When you know that your child is bad news, they ignore it. They're in denial. They don't care. It's not that they don't care. They don't do anything.
Yeah, but something like that, you know, he made that statement that he was going to unalive himself and unalive his family. I would have been right up there to the police station, son or not.
I had no idea that happened. Well, of course, News Nation is digging people up. I mean, before, as soon as it happened. And they actually talked to the woman who he committed his first offense with. Again, I'm having to say this as lightly as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Where Summer says, everybody always ignores the red flags until this happens. But the red flags were already there. It was public record. It was public record. There was no hiding this. Anyone that knows how to type could have figured out what he was all about. These aren't red flags. I mean, this is Pirates of the Caribbean ship coming straight towards you.
It's beyond sickening and sad, and I don't understand. That's why I always say, use your mouth, use your voice, regardless of fear and whatever, because it can prevent people being unalived. Just that one detail, that one, hey, this happened, it could save somebody's life. Look at Quentin, look at Oakley, look at these people right here. If somebody would have opened their mouth, this would not have happened.
Yeah. And he has been hung up for his behavior since the early 2000s. This was no secret. It's not, in this case, it's not, and I agree with you 100%. It's not even about opening your mouth. It's about just one simple search, and you're like, okay. And then you start making phone calls saying, get these minor children away from him. It is crazy to me. I can't figure it out. I cannot. And News Nation, they do what they do. They have become a tabloid, in my opinion, but, it is what it is.
In this horrendous crime is a 39-year-old registered sex offender. I mentioned his name before. It is Jesse McFadden. He had a long criminal history. And in fact, he was due in court just today on child porn charges and soliciting a minor. That he was doing while he was incarcerated. Joining me now is Crystal Strong. Crystal was a child rape victim of McFadden's in 2003, and she helped to put him in jail for 20 years. Crystal, I can't imagine what you're thinking at this time, given what you've been through, and then just hearing from Milena about what she's coping with?
I mean, I'm okay. My trauma's been dealt with. My heart goes out for the families. I begged the DA a long time ago not to ever let him out of prison because I knew that he would do this to someone else. I've never been contacted about when he was getting out. The last time I heard from anybody was when I was 17, and the DA or whoever it was told me that Jesse was really high on meth, that he's sorry, things happen and I need to learn how to forgive. And I hung up on her and I tried to suppress the memories and move on with my life. I don't have any contact with Canadian Shores or any of that area. And the minute I heard about this morning, I had a gut-wrenching feeling that those babies weren't going to come out of there.
Crystal, this happened to you at the same age. I mean, Brittany's mom just told us she had only just turned 15. You were 16 when he attacked you. What was the circumstance?
He was actually, so I grew up, my dad lived around there, around Canadian Shores, and I grew up with his girlfriend and her sister.
And real quick, when she says she told the DA to never let him out, the DA does not sentence people. So a lot of times in these cases, we have to be sensible and realize put blame where blame is due. DAs do not put sentences. Our legislators do, and then the judges carry them out. So when they say 20 years for what he did, which was horrific, then it's 20 years. And it's in the hands of the politicians. The DA does not sentence anyone. And I want to address this comment real quick. Hang on one second. Jules says, why is always pointing at the addict? It is a disease. I have it. I battle for sobriety each and every day. Yes, a lot of users are horrible and do horrible things, but not all. Well, here's the whole thing. He had a problem with meth. And it's like this. If someone is driving down the road and they wipe out a family because they were drunk, I wouldn't allow anyone to come in here and say, but not all alcoholics are bad. This one just made a bad choice. You know, it is a disease, and we understand that. It's a very prevalent disease. But I'm not going to give any sympathy to him. He's not going to get extra credit tickets with me because he also was addicted to methamphetamines. It just doesn't work that way with me.
And he had showed up. I had been at a party that night in McAllister, and I had left my truck in McAllister and drove home by someone else, some friends. And 3 friends actually, and my stepmom had drove by that night in the middle of my rape, but they kept going because my truck wasn't there. But Jesse had showed up and kept telling me that Holly kicked him out. He needed somewhere to go, things like that. And I was like, look, you really just need to call Holly. Like, you don't need to be here. And then I remember just being shoved through my door, a sock in my mouth, and being tied up to my own bed, and just horrible things happening. I remember the DA telling me that I would never have children. I just suppressed a lot of those memories, and then today brought it all back. And I just, all I wanted was those babies to be brought home.
And that's what we were all hoping for when that alert went out, that they would find those girls.
I've been talking to Caitlin Babb. They've been putting her case on the back burner for a lot of years. The girl with the pornography, with the charges that he was supposed to go to court for, he basically told her this morning, and I have screenshots of him telling her that when this all goes down, this is going to be your fault. And supposedly she gave that to the cops, I guess, and nothing was done.
And I want to be really clear, Crystal, you're talking about Caitlin. She was the subject of those lewd photographs that Jesse McFadden had in prison on a contraband phone. And she has spoken with you and given permission for you to tell her story.
Yes. She said that everybody keeps blowing her off.
Sorry, repeat that?
She said everyone keeps blowing her off and not doing anything. She's been just shoved off to the back burner. And then last night, Jesse had messaged her I guess from a fake account called Holidays. I have that screenshotted too, telling her I've done everything I was supposed to do, and you just won't let well enough alone, basically. And now this is going to be on you. Basically, I felt like he was telling her he was going to do something, and she took it to the. I said, "You need to take that to the cops," and she said, "I did," and nothing's being done.
And she was prepared to go through with this court hearing today, because this court hearing today for him was about that.
She's been trying to do this. This all happened, I guess, when she was 15 years old. He even told her about me back when all this happened, tried telling her that it all started like I was trying to do it with him, and then all of a sudden I didn't want it anymore. He had that girl so brainwashed.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
That is so sick.
Mm-hmm.
That is so sick. Oh.
And I feel this way, just because somebody has a substance. He was in jail sending pictures of himself, so he wasn't high or drunk on nothing.
No, he was in jail. I mean, I'm
he's
sure
just a
he was
pervert.
hopped up on something when he committed this horrible crime in the early 2000s, because that's normally how it happens. They have to have some sort of fire in them to do the unthinkable. A lot of crimes are committed when people are not in their right mind. I'm sorry. You know,
that is true. And a lot of them happen when nobody is in their right mind. They're just sick perverts.
Yeah. And sometimes they have to have the extra something to give them the nerve to do things. But like you said, he when he was in jail, he was sober. He is a pedo. That's the difference. So when someone mentions meth, don't take it personal and say, "Oh, now all addicts are pedos." No one said that. We have to stay on the straight track when we're doing this show. It gets too convoluted. It's disgusting what happened here.
Just because somebody has a substance abuse problem doesn't mean that they're a pedophile.
No.
They're just sick individuals that have that in them, that demon part of them in them anyway.
This is the guy who did all of this. Angel said, "Least not the red-headed stepchild today." Who? Who else has red hair besides me? Pick on me all you want. Kat said, "By the same score, not all pedos are drug addicts either." And that's true. So when they mention something in a news clip saying that this person was on meth or whatever, we're not saying that everybody who does drugs is a pedo. That's a far reach.
No. You could be sober, clean, and whatever, and still be a sicko.
And he is, and he has been for a long time. My question is, why would this woman have taken up with him and put her kids around him in the first place? Why on earth would the parents of Ivy and Brittany, not look up who their kids were around? I also wonder, when they went missing, how the parents didn't put it together. You know where your kids are. When my kids were growing up, if they were staying with a friend, I knew exactly where they were. So how did they not know where the kids were? I'm not blaming the parents.
We wasn't allowed to go out of the daggum yard when I was growing up.
I'm a Crodiosis. So is pedo a disease? Not in my book. But there's a couple of states that want to make it a disease. It's not, in my opinion.
No,
They're
it's
saying
not a
something.
disease.
They're saying some people are born with it.
And they'll be trying to find some excuse. Oh, I was insane for doing that to a child. I wasn't in my right mind.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely crazy. So he gets out of jail. Like I said, he meets Holly. This is her mother's statement. She lost her daughter, her granddaughter Rylee, her grandson Michael, her granddaughter Tiffany. Also in this carnage was Ivy and Brittany. They were the ones that were the extreme emergency alert yesterday that we all got on our phones. If you live in Oklahoma, you know what I'm talking about, because we've never seen anything like this before. We get extreme when it's weather.
I've never seen that in Georgia myself.
No, it's got to be bad. It's got to be bad. But when it went away so fast, I'm like, well, they were found, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole thing just disgusts the hell out of me, because I just believe that something could have been done way before. But I'm not going to judge, because there's, more to look at. So let's look at this.
Take you over to Okmulgee County, where the sheriff is expected to release new information about the 2 girls that were found. Let's go there now.
Are we streaming?
Yes. Okay, we good? Yep. You're not.
You're blocking my shot, sorry.
Okay. All right. What time was it? Jesus. Sorry, Liz.
So we're letting you know we're live on 6 right now.
We're live.
Approximately at 1500 hours, we arrived out here with a search warrant. We've searched the property and we've located 7 bodies that we are in the process of trying to get the ME to be able to confirm identities of these individuals that were found. We're not going to discuss any of the facts of the case or anything like that, but we are no longer looking. We believe to have found everything that we were seeking this morning. Our hearts go out to the families and friends, schoolmates, and everyone else, and it's just a tragedy in Okmulgee County.
Can you tell us where they were found on the property?
We're not going to disclose anything, but, we've been tramping around, so.
And Okmulgee County Sheriff Rice, when you say you found everything that you're looking for, are you insinuating that we're no longer looking for these juveniles?
We believe that we have found the persons. We just are waiting for confirmation. So
all the missing people.
Yes.
Does that include McFadden? Does that include McFadden?
Yes. But again, we cannot confirm anybody until the ME's office comes back and confirms all of them. So,
Sheriff, do you have any idea what led to this?
we have no idea at this time. We're still conducting an investigation. We're still following up the leads, still doing everything that we can just in case there's something that is left open. We don't want to miss anything, so everybody's still actively going. I want to thank the Violent Crime Task Force, the DA's office, Sheriff's Department, Henryetta PD, Okmulgee PD, OSBI, and all the other entities that come out here and assisting with this. So again, it's a tragic day in Okmulgee County again, and we just ask that you pray for the families.
At this point, are these deaths considered foul play?
Any unattended death is foul play. So again, we don't want to speculate. We're just going to wait until we find out what all the facts are and everybody's identified.
Is there any wounds on these bodies that we can't
go into any of that at this time. OSBI is going to be a spokesperson after this point, after this notification that I'm doing now. and then he will reach out to the media.
Would you consider this a homicide investigation?
Yes, any unattended death is a homicide.
Sheriff, was the brake finding this vehicle over here
No,
across the road?
No, sir.
Or was it, you got a search warrant to go in here?
Yes.
Was that when you just, had you discovered anything before this? You got a search warrant, went over there and looked?
We had to wait on the search warrant to go and look. We follow the statutes around here, so just covering our basis and going in proper like we're supposed to.
Have any weapons been recovered?
We're not going to discuss any of the details. We're just sticking to, what we have right now.
Have
What
the
was your
families been
knowledge of-
notified?
Sir?
Have the families been notified?
Yes, or we wouldn't be doing the notification to y'all. But the families have been notified.
Sheriff, can you talk about who else was involved? When initially we were looking for 4 to 5 people. Were there other people reported missing?
Nobody was reported missing. There were other family members related to the one family.
Can you say how many of these 7 are juveniles?
No, I can't at this time.
There's no ongoing threat to the public. Everything's contained right here.
That is correct, sir. We believe that there's no other threat to the community, and we will notify if we believe that anything else has changed that.
Sheriff, can you talk about the impact this has obviously on you as a community member, on your agency, on your deputies?
The families first, our community second. My guy is third, and I'm the last person that needs to be worried about. So,
Sheriff, you've been sheriff here in Okmulgee County for decades. I mean, has this county ever seen anything like this?
not this magnitude, no. We've had our share of troubles and woes, but this one's pretty bad. So,
Did you know about Jesse McFadden prior to any involvement today at this property?
not going to get into any details. I mean, there's facts out there. You can back those up 100% if you need to. We'll share more in the future, but there was nothing that alarmed us. I mean, so.
How will your office and the community, come together for something like this? Talk about the days ahead, any type of...
Our guys won't be done for a week. There's just still a lot to do. So our days are surrounded with typing and warrants and following through, and, they won't get to think about things for a while.
Is there any idea as to how long these bodies have been on the property?
No. They haven't been missing for long, eh? So, anyway, I want to thank y'all very much for coming out. I appreciate y'all respecting the family. And please, still be respectful. They have a lot of grief. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Horrible. I mean, horrible.
It's beyond sickening.
The legislators that we vote for have got to start. Everyone, screams all the time about CPS, but not about parents not taking care of their kids. They never go to the root of the problem. So when someone like Jesse here commits a crime in the early 2000s, instead of 20 years, it should have been life in prison. You don't get out. You don't get another chance at the wheel.
Because a lot of people like that will never change. It's in them. It flows through their blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll never change. So why risk another child being harmed and tormented like that by letting them out? I feel in my mind, they should get the DP. They do something like that to a child, they should get it.
Eva said exactly 20 years should have been life, and he just got out and reoffended. He did. He was reoffending while he was in jail. But no one knew about it until he was out of jail. So if you want better laws, that's one thing. But the one thing you should do is tighten down the ones you already have, because it takes forever for these legislators to do one thing. They can't, I mean, they don't know whether to wind their butt or scratch their wrist. That's how they are. They are just, there's so much law and legislation going on. So when someone attacks a child, they're done. They're out of our society. They can't sit with us.
Oh, I guarantee you he wouldn't have been thinking he'd get away with that if he was in prison.
No, and he
They
didn't
don't
want to go
play
back.
around in
That's the
prison
thing.
like that. You mess with a child, you could do whatever. You mess with a child,
Eva says, how was he re-offending in prison? Well, in jail, please elaborate. He had a cell phone, a contraband cell phone, and he was communicating with a 16-year-old.
Yeah, sending nasty pictures of himself.
Yep. And who wants to see that? My goodness. If this
don't
came
even wanna
across
see his
your
face.
phone, if this came across your phone, naked from the waist down, who wants to see that? OJ, quit. Who would want to see that?
He must hear his Aunt Amanda on the phone.
Who? I mean, yeah, he does. Who would want to see that?
Hell no. Hell to the no. And then look at his face. Looks like he's smirking.
Oh, they love picture day. It's like first grade for them all over again. You know how we got the plastic combs? We wore our best shirt to school. And they're like, here, go comb your hair and get ready to smile. Oh, yeah, they love their mug shots. They love them.
You wouldn't be smiling like that, smirking in prison.
Nope. The thing is, I mean, 100% this is all his doing. But I want to know why Holly married him, why she allowed her children around him, why these other children were allowed to be at their house and no one took the time to find out if they're good people.
I don't understand him being on probation for that. Why they weren't checking in with them.
Well,
Now,
I don't
what
know how long. I can't say because I don't know how long the probation was.
Yeah, that's true too.
Normally, when you get out of jail, you have like 6 months to a year, 2 years, and all of that is expired. You can like do your own thing.
From what I understood, the mother of the kids was convinced. He convinced her that he was set up. He never did that. So she supposedly believed him.
Okay. Well, look where it got her.
Yeah. And her kids.
Look where it got her. Everything starts at home. Everything. We can deny and deny and deny and deny. It all starts at home. And when grandma knew that her daughter was with him, and yes, she knew, she's like, she was fooled by his charms. All she had to do was call Oklahoma Department of Human Services and say, go check on my grandkids.
She must have got butterflies too.
Yep, the butterflies are killing me. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa said some women are desperate for love and they are willing to tolerate stuff that might be a bad idea for their children.
Yes, 100%. I couldn't have said it any better than that.
Phew.
And it's always the kids at the end of the day that suffer the most. Because they didn't have a choice in it. They didn't have a choice in what he did. The mom did. She made the decision to be with him.
And the other parents made the decision to let their kids go stay at the house with them. Now, what they have said in the last 24 hours is they thought he was weird, but didn't know any of this other stuff. I
As a
want to know. I just want to know.
I
When
don't understand that either. Most parents, before they let them go with somebody, they wouldn't want to know what this person or individual is like, where they came from, what they're about. You just don't let your kid go to somebody's house without knowing what this person is about.
Well, it used to be that way. Nobody went to anyone's house unless they met the parents and they drove you over. And, I mean, all of that. That's just kind of how it went. Or you lived by each other, so you knew where your child was. This willy-nilly stuff, I don't get.
I don't either. I don't understand it.
Mm-mm. No, me either.
There's too many sickos in this world to just, hey, here, y'all can go over, stay over there. He's weird, but it'll be okay. If you get that sense and you get that vibe that he's weird, then no, your child shouldn't have been over there.
No, I agree. Absolutely sick. Let's look at this.
From the search scene where 7 bodies were found today in Oklahoma, Henryetta, Oklahoma, just east of Oklahoma City. This is in Okmulgee County. So the background here is that officials are saying that 7 bodies were found on this rural property here in Henryetta, Oklahoma, as they were searching for 2 teens. Earlier today, a missing endangered person advisory was issued after 14-year-old Ivy Webster and 16-year-old Brittany Brewer were reported missing. The 2 were reportedly seen traveling with a convicted sex offender. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol then canceled that Amber Alert this afternoon. So this is an overhead shot of the rural area in which investigators were searching, again, looking for 2 missing teens, but instead they found 7 bodies on this property. We did hear from officials very briefly earlier today. I want to play out that sound for you now.
Investigate, what happened and, try to identify any perpetrator and just do that. I mean, that's with any investigation such as this.
How would you describe your feelings right now, or even OSBI's, with how grave this all is?
Well, anytime someone loses their life, that's a serious situation. So that's about the best way to describe anybody's role in anything, is to say that, it's something where somebody has lost a life.
Has McFadden had any criminal history, or has OSBI been aware of him before?
I couldn't comment on that. I don't know.
Will you be investigating if there was anything leading up to this, if there were any warning signs with McFadden?
Well, as far as warning signs, don't know about that. We'll just they'll be looking into every aspect of the investigation that's pertinent to the crime and everything. But as far as the tactics or strategy, couldn't comment on that.
Do we know when more details will be released about the victims?
Well, again, the biggest thing on the victims, I think what you guys are interested in, are the identities, ages, things like that. So really that information truly comes from the medical examiner.
Okay. Well,
will he be speaking to us at any point?
I have no idea. You'd have to contact the medical examiner on that one.
It's just a little unusual to have this many deceased. And we know McFadden and the 2 teens, but we don't know who the others are in relation to them,
Okay. Well, as far as the relation, I mean, there's a relationship somehow.
Of course, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is not going to tell you what they have and what they're working on. I don't know why. There's some people that act like every day is a new day. They're like a gray goose. They wake up and they're like, well, I don't know why the police aren't telling us. It's like, because they are not going to. Loose lips sink ships.
This is something that bothers me too. When you're a SA offender, you're supposed to register with that state. Well,
And
if
he
he was
is.
registered, yeah, if he's registered in that state, why didn't somebody go check to see, is this really his home? And if it is his home, he's married to somebody, she has kids, why didn't they nip that in the bud then? He shouldn't have been around kids, period.
Well, I want to know more about that myself. I can't leap to conclusions because I don't know. I would love to know. And that's I really didn't want to do this show because I don't have enough answers right now. I mean, I know they live out in the middle of nowhere, which is common for Oklahoma. It's very common. But that doesn't mean that no one knows where you're at. It's still
Yeah,
2022.
it's just something that it was just something that's pondering in my brain because I know, if that's what you are, they should have been making sure he wasn't around kids.
Now, I mean, people do have rights, and so they can't just come and, bang your door down. So he has to check in all the time. So he was registering his addresses and stuff, but some of these addresses to me don't make sense.
Yeah.
But he had to have been there when they went to check on him. Mochito says maybe his wife was a weirdo. Maybe she was. Because somebody was covering for him. And these women and what they will do to keep a man at any cost make me so damn mad. Every box was checked. But she thinks these are false charges, so she's going to cover all this up.
Yeah, she didn't. He convinced her, hey, I was set up. So she automatically believes it. She knew this and she still stayed with this man. You're putting your children at risk knowing this. There ain't no way.
And where's their
No way
dad?
in this world.
And where's their dad?
Yeah, that's a question I would like to know.
Where is their dad? They all have different last names. Rylee Elizabeth Ann, Michael James Mayo, Tiffany Dore Guess. Why do they all have different last names? Where are their dads?
I'll never understand women and their butterflies.
Me either. Me either. And I still want to know what happened over the weekend. The kids did not show up at school on Monday. Now that started a chain reaction because, of course, the school's going to want to know, where are the kids? And I believe it was Ivy's parents, Ivy's mom, that called and said, can't find my child, but why didn't you go to Brittany's house or to Jesse and Holly's house? I don't know. I can't figure this out. But it's just really irritating as hell.
Yeah, if you knew
but as
that's
far as
where they
discussing
were.
who is what relation, that's not going to be discussed right this moment.
Will you be coming forward with any more information about the condition in which these bodies were found?
Well, again, we talk about the condition of the bodies. That's really the medical examiner and their investigation of the individuals.
A minute ago, you used the word perpetrator, but just to be clear, there's no one else being looked for at this point. There's nothing outside this land right here that's you're not looking for someone.
Well, okay, I said perpetrator. Maybe I just need to stand corrected on that. Perpetrator, because there's still evidence being processed. So if it leads to anyone else, of course, those will be followed up on. So, not to say there's any more people involved, but just so to answer your question, I'll say perpetrator or perpetrators.
Well, I just want to be clear. There's no threat to the public. That's what the sheriff had said earlier.
Yeah, there is no threat to the community as we know it at this time.
What do you think the community of Henryetta needs to know most?
Okay, would you repeat that?
What does the community of Henryetta need to know most at this time from law enforcement concerning all of this?
Well, just like I said, there's no suspect at large that we are looking for right at this moment. So that's the most important thing, is that there's no one else out there that we're looking for at this time. So there's no threat to the community.
At this time, do you believe McFadden is the one who killed everyone?
Who did any part of this? That's again subject to the investigation. So we're a ways from having that completed. So there's no way to answer that question right now.
You don't have McFadden in custody, do you?
Excuse me?
Do you have McFadden in custody?
Huh?
Do you have McFadden in custody?
There's been no arrest in anything right now.
Okay, a short update here from officials in Oklahoma after those 7 bodies were discovered during a search of a rural property.
There's no arrest because he's dead. He's dead. Okie Crime News says, I'm begging all parents to find out who your kids are hanging out with. Parents in Oklahoma, we have OSCN. We also have ODCR. We have a sex offender list. Where Summer said that RSOs can be around kids. It depends on what they were charged with and what they were let out of jail for. Every state is different. He was not supposed to be around kids.
No.
Period. Particularly the ages of the children he was around. But it seems to me that Holly kept a good cover for him. I just don't know. When these parents say it seems like he was weird, why on earth they didn't look him up? I don't get that.
And why, if you have that feeling, you allowed your kids to be around him, period.
Okie Crime Nose says, I do not at all want to blame the parents. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not blaming the parents. I just have questions. I don't understand why in this day and age, why you wouldn't look up, particularly when you've already said that they were weird. Why you wouldn't check on it. I don't get it.
Yeah, if you have that feeling, why would you allow your kid to be around him is all I'm questioning. There ain't no way if I have that feeling, I would let my child around somebody like that if I get this gut feeling something's not right with them.
I mean, the blame is 100% on Jesse. 100%.
Yes. But these are lessons that need to be learned by parents, is if you get this feeling that something's not right about somebody, just don't go up and let your child around them if you feel that way. And check on them. Check to see what this person is about before you let or allow your child to be around them.
Yeah.
My hero, Jay.
He's coming unglued right now. And no, please don't get it mistaken. Go lay down. Get on your couch. No, I'm not blaming the parents. I just don't understand why this was put out yesterday right here that came across my phone. This is a screenshot from my phone. Missing endangered Ivy Webster and Brittany Brewer. So you know where your children went to stay. Why didn't you go over there? Did they knock on the door and no one answered? I mean, what started this chain of events? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Bama Skin said moms are too busy filtering pics and not people. Woo!
Wow, yeah. Yep.
You're right. Where Summer said, if you're under supervision, you can't be around a child 17 and under. If you're not on supervision, you can be. And many, many states, yes, it's sick. And I understand it's wrong. Yes. Yeah. Because I still haven't even heard how they died.
I think he shot them with his mom's gun.
Not shocked. Not shocked. And here you go, was. Problem is, predators aren't law-abiding citizens. And that is the truth. You can stack the books up. You can make it to where we can't even cough outside. You can get a ticket for not picking up your dog shit. But see, we abide by laws of society. We know the rules. We don't even have to know them. We just know how to act. But see, people like him, they don't. And people that fall for his charms, that is the problem. And here's another question I have. He shot them all at the same time? No. That's 7 people. So 6, and of course he would have to have been the last one. I'm no forensics expert, but I can put that much together. So he killed 6 people. What the hell was going on? See, criminals don't care.
Back down to the scene. Talk to us just why you wanted to go back there this morning.
I wanted to see her. I wanted answers. I wanted to go on the land and get the answers myself, and I know I can't. But we need to be told the answers of everything here soon. I'm tired of hearing we can't know right now, and it's frustrating. We need to know. Everybody needs to know.
And kind of tell us, this weekend, I know you were contacted. Just kind of talk about how the events unfolded and how you learned about everything.
Well, she was supposed to be home. Now
Start
that
from the beginning.
Okay, so Saturday she was going out. They were going to go to the mall and then main event, which they did, and spend the night. And as far as we knew, it was
As they've done before.
Yeah, Ivy and Brittany were going to Tiffany's. So nothing out of the ordinary. Me and Ivy were Snapchatting up until about midnight Saturday night.
Okay, Tiffany. Oh, we lost Amanda. Tiffany is Holly's daughter. So that would be Jesse's stepdaughter. Okay. Now, it has also been said that some parents, I'm not going to say who, were taken aback by the fact that he was adding all of these minor children on Snapchat. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't befriend minor kids. I also don't accept their requests. I don't. It's not cute to be cool with the youngins. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. But there he is on Snapchat, very convenient app for him. And he's adding these kids.
And then Sunday, I got a message from her, which was a little different, but I didn't think nothing of it. It was, hey, we're going to run to McAllister. We have to go. Jesse's got to work on like the ranch or fence, whatever, which they've gone before. So again, didn't think nothing of it. But usually I get, hey, Mom, is that okay? Or I love you. Didn't get that, but I didn't think much. I said, okay, try. She said, we'll be home by 5. I said, okay, if you can, a little earlier because, school tomorrow type thing. Okay, I'll let you know type thing. No, I love you. No, none of that. Then I get a call from Jesse a little while, about 5 or so, saying, oh, yeah, we're still out here in McAllister. phone was really cutting out. Not getting good service. I said, okay, keep me updated. And that was the last
And
contact.
that probably,
I believe the girls were already gone at that point.
And this is new information that you guys are sharing with us.
Yes.
This is a lot. He could have killed everyone over the weekend and just waited till Monday to off himself. I'm going to listen to this again. Bear with me.
Justin, you just went back down to the scene. Talk to us just why you wanted to go back there this morning.
I wanted to see her. I wanted answers. I wanted to go on the land and get the answers myself, and I know I can't. But we need to be told the answers of everything here soon. I'm tired of hearing we can't know right now, and it's frustrating. We need to know. Everybody needs to know.
And kind of tell us, this weekend, I know you were contacted. Just kind of talk about how the events unfolded and how you learned about everything.
Well, she was supposed to be home. Now
Start
that
from the
every
beginning.
Okay, so Saturday she was going out. They were going to go to the mall and then main event, which they did, and spend the night. And as far as we knew, it was
As they've done before.
yeah. Ivy
They-
and Brittany were going to Tiffany's, so nothing out of the ordinary. Me and Ivy were Snapchatting up until about midnight Saturday night, and then Sunday I got a message from her, which was a little different, but I didn't think nothing of it. It was, hey, we're going to run to McAllister. We have to go. Jesse's got to work on like the ranch or fence, whatever, which they've gone before. So again, didn't think nothing of it, but usually I get, hey mom, is that okay? Or I love you. Didn't get that, but I didn't think much. I said, okay, try. She said, we'll be home by 5. I said, okay, if you can a little earlier because, school tomorrow type thing. Okay, I'll let you know type thing. No, I love you. No, none of that. Then I get a call from Jesse a little while, about 5 or so, saying, oh yeah, we're still out here in McAllister. Phone was really cutting out. Not getting good service. I said, okay, keep me updated. And that was the last
And
contact.
that probably,
I believe the girls were already gone at that point.
And this is new information that you guys are sharing with us.
Yes. They never made it to McAllister.
he planned it, and when he sent that text or call or whatever to what's her name, the girl that he made contact with when he was in jail, the reason why he was going to court or supposed to go to court yesterday, he told her that what's going to happen is going to be all her fault. So he planned it ahead of time.
Why do you feel that your daughter was involved in his?
I feel the evil in him wanted to get back at the world, and he wanted to hurt the people that he loved most. And our daughter was best friends with Tiffany, his daughter, and they were inseparable. They did everything together. And
Nope, that's not why, Dad. That is not why. It has nothing to do with getting back. It has nothing to do with being best friends with Tiffany. He was inappropriate and was messing with the 2 girls. He was messing with Ivy. He was messing with Brittany. Okay? That is what happened. He said, I'm not going back to jail. Yes, they are in shock, and they're trying to make sense of something you can't put together. Of course, he's a serial ped. He had a breeding ground. He had Snapchat. He had a wife with kids that were bringing other kids over. And they're in shock and they can be in denial. Let's listen to that again because this is really stunning.
This is new information that you guys are sharing with us.
Yes. They never made it to McAllister.
He planned it all. And when he sent that text or call or whatever to what's her name, the girl that he made contact with when he was in jail, the reason why he was going to court, or supposed to go to court yesterday, he told her that what's going to happen is going to be all her fault. So he planned it ahead of time.
Why do you feel that your daughter was involved in his?
I feel the evil in him wanted to get back at the world, and he wanted to hurt the people that he loved most. And our daughter was best friends with Tiffany, his daughter, and they were inseparable. They did everything together, and I think he just wanted to act out at the world and take as many as he possibly can. We're finding out that there was some other girls that were contacted to go out that day as well, and some of them didn't go, but it could have been a lot worse.
So obviously, he's going to court and all these things. I mean, you kind of seem like you're maybe a little bit upset with the law enforcement.
I am.
Kind of talk to me about that. I mean,
he should have been stuck in jail. He should have rotted in there from the get-go.
Especially,
he should have rotted in there from the get-go. I 100% agree, but he didn't. So you have to be aware of your surroundings. You don't marry these people when they get out of jail. When they serve 85% of their sentence, which is normally what they serve. In Oklahoma, they do. I can't speak for other states. Some, depending on the crime, these are light sentences we have right now. Very light sentences. He should have rotted in jail. Well, you know what? Write your senator. Have a protest. Do something. Governor Stitt will listen to you because he would love to keep everyone locked up. He would love it. But this is insane.
if he was sneaking phones in and
he snuck a phone in jail and solicited with a minor in jail
and was still released.
If that's not any proof that he can't be controlled, then I don't know what is. And Okmulgee County jail and McAllister and Pittsburgh County, they need to be held accountable. They do. We need answers of why this monster was released to be able to hurt kids.
Oh my gosh. Y'all's daughter says, I feel a lawsuit. Paula said parents should know about the people their children are staying with. Had they done their due diligence and kept their daughter away from him, she'd be alive right now. And that is true. That is true. And so when people say, don't beat up on the parents, I'm not beating up on the parents. I'm trying to understand what the hell was going on. You can't be upset with law enforcement when you didn't take care of your own home. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, people's going to have questions and trying to understand the situation. That's human nature. It's not that nobody's beating up on nobody.
No. Because I don't get it. And I mean, I don't get it. This guy had bad news written all over him. It's a public record. You could see he just got out of jail for the R word. So what are you doing saying law enforcement should have kept him in there? He served his time. He served his sentence. Not saying he's a great guy.
And then you knowingly know he did these things and you're believing every little bit he's telling you.
And you have a woman. Yeah. And you have a woman with children who is keeping him under the radar.
Lord knows what these teenage girls went through before he unalived them.
Yeah, I hate to even think about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Joy said they stated they let her go, as she had done many times before, and they let them go, plus they talked to them on the phone. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. With all this communication in 2023, we can get a message from someone in Egypt in 2 seconds, but you can't get on your phone and look up what someone's all about? Communication is so simple in 2023, yet it's so complicated. And I don't understand that. People got more shit done in the 70s and 80s than they do now.
Yeah.
Everyone knew everyone. Hell, my grandma kept a list of all of everyone's bad deeds in her purse.
You always had numbers on the refrigerator, list of numbers of friends and emergency numbers and all this and that.
Barbara said, I can't get my head around this. He was grooming. Of course he was. That's his MO. That is his MO. And it's funny to me because just last week in Oklahoma, a guy who was grooming, he got life in prison. And they can be on any list you want. It doesn't matter whatever list you want to give them. Hell, Candace Wells is on the government watch list. It doesn't stop her. To these people, it's a piece of paper. They're wired a different way. They don't care. So we have to be mindful.
I sent you a few things. You'll probably see them and you can watch them later. This is where I kind of watched someone last night that was discussing it and spoke to one of the family members, an aunt or something. So maybe that'll help with more detail of the situation.
See, I don't get into that so much because family is going to take up for family because they don't want a bad name themselves.
Yeah.
And so they're going to say things like, we didn't know, or we told her, and it convolutes the situation. Brass tacks are Holly knew he was a bad hombre. I don't believe for a minute he was never abusive to her or the kids.
I agree with that. I mean, come on. There ain't no way he didn't do something to him before this even happened.
You know, and you want a bunch of kids coming over and they're best friends and they're hanging out. And the parents are saying, well, we knew he was a weird guy. He was a helicopter parent, they said. I'm like, what? I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was, but not in that way. He was keeping his thumb on these girls because that's what he's attracted to. See, 14 to 16 is what he likes. Let's look at this real quick. This is Brittany's dad.
For the community showing up and everybody rallying together on food wise and praying for us and going through the next steps. I mean, I've never thought my wildest dreams that I'd be burying my own daughter. I figured she'd be burying myself before burying her. So, you know, and a little bit about me. I grew up just a few blocks from Amber Hagerman's when she passed away back in the early 90s that started the whole Amber Alert system. So this is really hitting home to me because I was right there, 9 years old, and she was 4. I knew who she was. I didn't play with her or associate with her, but I knew who she was because she just lived a few blocks from my house. So, and then now my daughter going through this, this is just overwhelming.
Okay. Well, I mean, what to do? I mean, what to do? The whole situation is horrific. And there's no crime to solve, to be quite honest, because they can figure out all the causes of death. And they already know that this guy is horrible. We lost Amanda. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to end with a song because this is really irritating me. I'm not in a bad mood. It's really upsets me to no end. And get on with, the trial at 2:00 because this should never have happened. This should never have happened. Somebody should have been on point and known he was a bad dude.
There's a full moon over the top of, I hope God's shining on you. The nights are getting colder in Cherokee County. There's a blue northerner passing through. Well, I remember green eyes and a rancher's daughter, but remember is all that I do. Losing you left a pretty good cowboy, but nothing to hold on to. Sundown came and I drove to town to drink a drink or two. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. And I'm sure missing you. And I'm sure missing you. The city lights outshine the moon. I was just out thinking of you. And sometimes when the wind blows, you can see the mountains and all the way to Malibu. Everyone's a star here in LA County. You ought to see the things that they do. And all the cowboys down on the Sunset Strip wish that they could be like you. The Santa Monica Freeway sometimes makes a country girl blue. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. And I'm sure missing you. I worked 10 hours on a John Deere tractor, thinking of you all day. I've got a calico cat and a 2-room flat on a street in West LA. But you're the reason God made Oklahoma. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. And I'm sure missing you. I'm sure missing you.